Hey guys, it's Rui. Today was my first day back to coding after a few weeks. Last video, I reached my first checkpoint, which was to finish making a functional game loop with all the main parts of the game blocked out. Once I got that done, I took a break from my game, during which I spent a lot of time outside enjoying the early spring weather, making my last video, and also starting a new side quest, which you'll see more of later in this episode. Now that I've finished phase 1, something new that I'm trying for my next phase is I'm gonna try having no deadlines, no time estimates, no order of operations. Before, with my first phase, I tried to write out a rough timeline and estimate how long things would take, but it ended up just not being very useful for me because it's just hard to come up with concrete plans when you don't really know what you're doing. So my plans would keep changing and the timelines would keep shifting, and then I would feel stressed about it. So I thought that maybe it would be better to be more flexible for now. And once I get a better understanding of how I work and how long things take me, then I can start being a bit more deliberate. But for now, I'm just gonna try moving intuitively, I guess. Although I did come up with a general theme that I want for this phase to be about, and then I wrote a list of tasks based on that theme. So there is some planning that I did there. But in terms of how I'm approaching getting all this done, I'm just gonna take it one at a time in no particular order. So to start, I decided to work on this checklist item because it just spoke to me. And once I'm done with it, I'll just choose another one from the list that I feel like working on and do that one until I finish all of them. At least that's the plan. We'll see how it goes. The first task I chose off the to-do list was furniturizing all the furniture. Now, what does that even mean? One of my priorities this phase is to get customizing the cafe to start feeling at least somewhat legit. I want for creative agency to be a core value in my game, and a pretty basic place to start with that would probably be to give my players the ability to place their cafe furniture wherever they want. At this point in development though, I had only made a couple of the items movable while the rest were just built into the cafe because I was just quickly trying to build out the basic functionality. But it was now time to change that and get all the furniture moving. Except there was one problem. I have some unfortunate news to share. I think I'm gonna have to redo my entire grid system. So here's the problem. As I mentioned, I'm currently working on furniturizing all the starter furniture, and I just got finished with the tables and chairs. They work fine, work great. And so I was gonna move on to the next piece of furniture, which I decided will be the door. And here's where the problem started. Because the door, it's a special piece of furniture. It's not like other furniture. Because unlike all the other starter furniture, it takes up both wall tiles and floor tiles. The wall tiles because obviously the door is built into the wall, and it also takes up a floor tile because that's where the customer spawns. They spawn on the tile in front of the door. And the way I have the grid set up right now, it's gonna be very complicated to be able to take up both wall tiles and floor tiles. So I'm thinking of just completely changing the system, possibly not even using these tiles at all. These tiles that I spent so long on and wrote many lines of code for, all down the drain. The good news is that I do have an idea of how I want to build my new placing the furniture system. I watched a YouTube tutorial that is pretty relevant for what I want to do, so I think I'm going to do something very similar. This time I'm going to try my best to make my system more versatile so it works fine with all types of furniture, whether you place it on a wall or a floor or a ceiling or whatever. Honestly, even though it didn't work out, I'm glad that I started somewhere with the grid system anyways, because honestly, I was just kind of scared to build something like this in the first place. It's one of the more complicated things that I've had to build so far, which is why I just started by only thinking about the floor grid and not considering the walls or anything else, because just that part was a lot for me to think about in that moment. But now that I feel a bit more familiar with the territory of moving and placing items, I feel like I've been primed and ready to make a better system. Currently on day 3 of working on my new grid/placing furniture system, and guys, it's going well. I think it's just so much better. And it was kind of way easier to code, which is great. it's a good thing, but it also makes me mad because you're telling me I wrote all that complicated shit for the old system for nothing. So this new system, it does use more parts. Like now all my surfaces have this boundary around them, and each of my furniture items now require an additional collision shape. But the code is much simpler, much more readable, especially for like a week in the future when I go back to it and have no idea why I wrote it the way I did. There's still a long ways to go with converting all of the grid system over, so I'm just gonna keep going. I spent the next couple of days remaking all the furniture I'd added into the game up till then, which thankfully was not very much. And I also rewrote and cleaned up all the relevant code for them so that they can be placed and moved around and rotated as expected. It took me a long time to overhaul and convert everything. I think especially because I was coming back from a pretty long break from coding, so that part of my brain had to like be started back up again. But it was so worth it because just look at how much more freely you can move things around now compared to when everything was confined to the grid. I just feel like it's so much better from the player's perspective and my perspective because this system is easier for me to expand and work with going forward. And now that the overhaul was complete, I could move on to the next task that I wanted to work on, which would be adding a new and exciting piece of furniture to the collection. The last piece of starter furniture that I want to add is a window, which I have no idea how to make. Basically, I want to be able to punch a hole through the wall wherever I place the window so that you can look out the window into the void. After doing a bit of internet sleuthing, I learned about a fairly new feature in Godot that I thought might let me get the see-through effect that I wanted for my windows, which is this stencil property. There were several settings under it, so at first I just clicked around to see what they all do, and then I went back to my task at hand. I was able to get the transparency effect going pretty quickly, but there were some rough edges that would need polishing. Oh my god, it's perfect. Except that you can see through the window through the top. Oh, and other than the fact that you can see through the other wall. I don't know what I'm doing. After trying several things that didn't work, reading many docs, watching a couple relevant videos, and letting the cat into the room. What would you like to tell the class today? Okay, thank you very much. I finally came up with a solution, which without getting too into it, basically involves this reference number property. You see it, and then you don't. Oh, this is awesome. Oh, I decided not to make it see-through from this side. I'll put like a window texture instead. And I didn't have to write any shader code for this, which, I mean, to be honest, I was kind of looking forward to it. I do want to get better at shaders, but I'm sure I'll have plenty of opportunities to get to playing with shaders later down the line, so. And then it was time to actually make a window that I can place and move around in the cafe. I think it's working. It's hard to tell because all the meshes and the depths are weird. Why does it do that? What I learned through all this is that the way transparency works in video games is way more complicated than I thought. But thankfully, I was able to get things looking mostly normal in the end, as long as you don't look at things from this angle. Oh my god, that feels good. Guys, I ordered a shirt online and it arrived today, but it's not any kind of shirt. No, it's a shirt that I designed myself. I really like graphic tees, and I have designed and ordered custom merch for like school club activities and company stuff and such, but it's my first time making something just for myself. Let's see how it turned out. What if it sucks? What if it's just absolute bleep? It's okay. It didn't really pick up on the more intricate edges and the brush strokes that I used. The print itself is not super crisp. Wait, but my favorite part, this came out so good. I put a label on the inside. How cute is that? It looks so good. I love that. I am quite interested in opening an online store in the future where I can sell t-shirts and stuff like that with my own designs on them. Honestly, mostly because I want to make these kind of things for myself. And so might as well also put it out there for other people to possibly enjoy as well. But unfortunately, I'm not fully satisfied with the quality of this particular shirt, but I do already have some ideas for how I can make my graphics a bit more optimized for t-shirts in terms of like the sizing and the graphic style and stuff. And I also now have a reference for what kind of thickness and shape t-shirt that I prefer. This one's not as thick and oversized as I like my shirts to be. I'll continue this t-shirt storyline next time that I have an idea for a graphic. Today I'm going to start work on building out a pretty significant change to my game. An important reflection that I had from just observing my game at this current, albeit scrappy state, is that I feel like it's not mentally stimulating enough a game. For my taste. And the part of the game that I felt this the most is with the quirks. Originally, my idea was that one of the main parts of the game would be that the customers that come to your cafe, they are quirky. They're silly little beans, and basically I have to help them out by picking up their crayon for them or plugging in the laptop charger for them. And I thought it would be very cute and delightful, which it is the first like 3 times that you pick up somebody's crayon for them. But then once you get to like the 10th time and the 20th time and the 30th time, it starts feeling kind of more like busy work, you know? And I couldn't help but feeling that way about most of the features that happen during the day of the cafe where you're serving the customers and stuff. So I thought, what if I add another variable to the game? Something that makes it so you have to use your brain cells a little bit more. Not a whole lot. I'm not trying to make some kind of complicated strategy game here, but just something more mentally stimulating. So my idea right now is that customers will have several different mood bars for various positive moods. And by filling up a mood bar, you earn something, I'm calling them sparks for now, that are associated with that particular mood. And basically these sparks, or whatever I end up calling them, will be another category of currency on top of the coins that I currently have. And I'm still keeping it open as to what exactly this currency is used for. But for now, I'm thinking that you use them to unlock new recipes. And now the way that this adds complexity to the game is that different choices that you make can have different effects on the customer's mood. The furniture that you place, the foods that you serve and recommend, whether you fulfill a customer's seating preferences or not, and potentially many other things can have various different effects on how creative or joyful or focused a customer feels. So I'm pretty excited about this. I feel like this moods thing will act as a glue to help tie a lot of different parts of the game together that felt a little bit like loose ends before. And I have more plans and ideas surrounding moods that I want to share with you guys as I go. But for now, let's start by adding the moods feature into the game. Alright, the machinery has all been set up now for giving my customers emotions. So now you can see. Oh, it went away pretty quickly because I had to open a new dialogue, but there it was. The pop-up is not very crisp. It's kind of pixelated, not sure why. You can see that when I recommend an order and it fits their preferences, like this customer wants something cool and the Americano, it's an iced Americano. I probably should clarify that. It affects the mood. You can click on them when they're chilling to check their mood. I came up with these 3 for now, but I'd be curious to see if you guys have ideas for any other relevant moods for people working at a cafe. I'm trying to stick to positive ones. This is a cozy game after all. So for this customer, their creativity is maxed out, which means that when they leave, I'll earn a creativity spark, and this counter will go up by 1. Today concludes 2 weeks of running my little experiment to see what it's like to work on my game without any timeline, any time constraints, or schedules, with just a checklist as my guide to eventually tick off. So here is my final verdict and my reflection. First of all, I very much enjoyed not having deadlines or a timeline or roadmap kind of thing. I feel like time budgeting is something that I will do for maybe my next game, but isn't appropriate for my first run at making a real game. Of course, I do have that anxious voice in my brain sometimes that makes me think about what if I'm not moving fast enough. But what I've realized is that even though I want to do a good job, at the end of the day, I chose to start learning game dev because I enjoy it. And that is a very precious thing for me. I really don't want to lose this feeling again because I have before when I burnt out and it was not a fun time. So I think for me, the healthier way for me to deal with those anxieties is basically to not treat my game so desperately. I think for now it's enough for me to focus on trying to make a game that I like and keep on enjoying making games. That being said, although I liked not having deadlines, I think that working kind of willy-nilly whenever I want, however long I want, was not super good for me. How I'm gonna adjust my process going forward is I think that it would be good for me to work on game dev stuff at around the same time every day. Because at the end of the day, I am a creature of habit, I suppose. Whenever I would work on my game, I would work on it for longer than I would like to. And I'd feel pretty exhausted at the end of it. And just logistically speaking, I have other things that I'm up to outside of making my game, you know? And so in order to make it so that my game dev stuff fits in more seamlessly with all the other things I do in the day-to-day, I will try to routinify a little bit. And hopefully I can train my brain so that if I'm doing game dev at the same time every day, then my brain gets in the mood to do game dev at the same time every day. And with that, thank you so very much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!